here at the Las Vegas Convention Center. I am Tyler Bishop. Joined with me today, Robert Drysdale. It is the 2019 IBJJF Heavyweight No-Gi Grand Prix. Robert, we have an exciting lineup here today, don't we?
Thank you, Tyler. I'm super excited to be here. Great to share the mic with you again. Last
Absolutely.
time was No-Gi Worlds. We see some of the same characters that were at the No-Gi Worlds competing here again. I've been waiting for this Grand Prix for a long, long time. We're about to watch. This first match is going to be what I consider might be the best match of the evening. This could well be the final, man. But Gaudio and João Gabriel, man, these guys are super tough. I can't even pick a favorite, man. This is going to be fireworks. It's a privilege to be here. You guys are watching one of the greatest shows on earth. And it's kind of like like a warm-up for ADCC, man, so I'm excited.
We were talking about this beforehand, but the competitors in this bracket, many of them are getting ready for ADCC, and as we also talked about, and you mentioned just a moment ago, this could very well be the final. So we may be seeing one of the most important matches of the day here, because the winner of this match could very well be making their way on further in the day.
Absolutely, and this is going to be very tactical. These fighters know each other very well. They've trained before, they've competed before. And you're watching some of this is the cream of the crop here, guys. If you just tune in, you don't know what's going on here, you are watching two of the top 10 grapplers in the world right now, João Gabriel Rocha and Prix Gaudio. Gaudio representing GF Team and João Gabriel Rocha representing Soul Fighters. You can see Formiga in the corner of João Gabriel Rocha, one of the best coaches in all of Jiu-Jitsu. And next, and cornering Prix Gaudio, you see Julio Cesar, also one of the best coaches in the history of the sport, hands down. I would put him top 5. Very, very successful coach. All you got to do is look at all the guys that came out of GF Team, and on all levels, not just like blue to black. Like, they have a really, really solid program. And Prix Gaudio, one of their main competitors right now. Yeah,
really one of their standouts. I would say, if you were to say from GFT right now, you were to say what are the top 3 guys, or what is the Mount Rushmore of the team right now, he's definitely at the front of that line. And you can see tying up here with Rocha. Rocha, a bigger competitor. Gaudio, someone that competed as small as middleweight here just even a couple years ago. And so there is a small size difference here.
Yes, I will say this though. I've seen Gaudio do so well against heavier people. He comes from wrestling originally, and I think he's fine on his feet. Like, he's going to be hanging with João Gabriel Rocha, no problem standing up. And I don't know. I think he might have even an edge over João Gabriel Rocha when it comes to the wrestling aspect of it. But I just don't see any of them pulling guard. So this is going to be it's going to be fireworks with lots of explosive takedowns, or it might be slow because they're going to be so worried about taking that first step and getting countered. Now, João Gabriel counters really well off of doubles. We've seen him do that to Bochecha before. João Gabriel, who just beat Bochecha not too long ago in Brazil, and yeah, he's like a very, very underrated player in my opinion, man. Like, I actually have João Gabriel as the favorite for the whole tournament.
Yeah, I would say that talking to several experts and pundits, that many felt the same way, that João Gabriel would be a favorite in this, and then actually many picked second, as you had alluded to further, Gaudio. And you can nice throw here by Rocha.
He does that. He goes for that Uchimata off of the double. And I've seen him do that to Bochecha before, and I kind of, he's got an arm triangle. Got to spin back inside. Gaudio's smart, a very wise competitor. I wonder if they're going to give him anything for that. IBJJF with the 3-ref system, which is a great system. A lot less room for error with the 3 refs involved, 3 of the best refs in the world.
And all the refs there agreed that it was, in fact, an advantage awarded to Rocha. No score, no takedown points there, Robert, which it's a tough pill to swallow if you're Rocha. You had the opportunity there. You had the throw, you had the head and arm, and then you came on top there, and really only just a small reward for your efforts.
Yeah, it is frustrating because, the mats, there's like normally when they have the Grand Prix or Super Fight, they'll have like bigger mats, and these mats are bigger than the typical size, but it's still very difficult to stay inbound, especially when there's going to be so much wrestling. This is looking like it's going to be a wrestling match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wrestling is such a huge part of BJJ, especially in the upper division, especially in No-Gi.
Yeah.
Like this ADCC, I have an expectation of seeing more wrestling than ever before. I could be wrong, But I think that it's the most underrated aspect of BJJ. High-level competition today is this right here. Everyone knows it's important, but like compared to how much time we spend on our feet competing versus how much time we spend on our feet training our feet, right? There's an enormous discrepancy there. My recommendation to competitors is, man, work on this stuff. This is where the fight is taking place.
Yeah, I think you're seeing the level of wrestling in Jiu-Jitsu be elevated, especially no-gi here recently, and I think especially the ADCC rule set, as you mentioned earlier, I think it'll be particularly important. I think we'll see that here in a couple months.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you're right, the level's definitely gone up. Like, I feel 10, 15 years ago, like BJJ guys were simply not good at takedowns. Even like Arona, I remember, like probably the best guy, the only guy that could kind of like, you know, out wrestle wrestlers. It was like he was such an explosive guy. He was, but like technically, I feel like these guys are much better wrestlers than, you know, just like 10, 15 years ago. Jiu-Jitsu's progressed a lot in that realm, but I still feel there's a long way to go, and I think ADCC will be where we're gonna, there's the confirmation of this expectation.
So right now, if you're Gaudio, Robert, you're down by an advantage on your feet. You've got 6 minutes left to go. Are you switching up the game plan? Are you changing things up a little bit?
I don't see him pulling guard. I think he's got a feel for João's counter off that double. Like Gaudio's got to shoot for like singles. Really careful with that Uchimata. He's got to go for like an ankle pick. He's got to look for like maybe try to, you know, like a peek out off of a shot, but like engaging Gaudio's hips on that double, like kind of run him over like he normally does, is exactly what João Gabriel wants him to do. So he's going to have to wrestle João Gabriel in a different way. Like I don't think like that blast double that he likes is a good idea against João.
I'm not overly familiar with Gaudio's stand-up techniques, no-gi. I know in the gi, he has a lot of really great throws that are more, I would say, coming from the judo base. He's very good at foot sweeps, which some of that does translate to no-gi, but it does seem like the way he's tying up right now, it's more of a traditional wrestling style, wouldn't you say, Robert?
Yes, absolutely. That might be another idea, is like try to, you know, switch stances, try to get in there, try to clinch with them more. But João Gabriel's got such good hip throws. Like that Uchimata is so, I mean, he does it to everyone. So you know, Patrick's got to be very careful there. Like he's got halfway through the match, he's down by 1 advantage. This means that João Gabriel is going to be less aggressive. He has the edge. He could be more conservative here. Doesn't mean he's not going to attack if the opportunity presents itself, but he could be more conservative. Gaudio's the one that's going to push the pace now.
Yeah, we saw Rocha set up that snap down to the Uchimata a little bit earlier. You know, we talked about him being a slightly larger opponent here earlier, Robert. Being a taller guy, is that an advantage that you have, being able to snap down a smaller opponent on the feet?
In some ways, I've heard from like high-level wrestlers. I've always thought that being shorter was an advantage in wrestling because it's so much easier to change levels and get underneath your opponent, and so much harder for a taller opponent to get underneath you, right? But again, like a lot of high-level wrestlers will talk about these, like, you know, hip throws and these counters to doubles and how height can be an advantage as well. You know, I think it really depends on the person and how you execute your game plan and what are your favorite moves. But it's getting underneath a guy like João Gabriel, because his counter so low, is very difficult. Patrick is not in a good spot right now. With 4 minutes left, this is not good for him. Yeah. See, he's tentative to really engage on that shot. I think he's hoping that João Gabriel takes the initiative, but he just doesn't have to. Like, he's going to play defensive from now on.
And João Gabriel he is an aggressive fighter. I mean, if anybody that's seen some of the matchups that he's had with Buchecha before, there's been many times where Buchecha has come back from and grasps victory from the jaws of defeat against Rocha. Ooh, and a nice guillotine attempt here by Rocha.
I wonder if they're going to, I don't think they're going to count anything.
Yeah, I think they're going to say that one's fairly even. We'll see.
Yeah, let's see what the referees do.
And
nothing. Yeah, so João Gabriel's had some wars with Buchecha, and he's been very close to beating him a few times. And like I said, he beat him recently in Brazil, in the gi. And he deserves it, man. Like he's a really tough kid. He fought cancer. This guy survived cancer a few years ago, and I remember him coming up through the ranks like blue, purple, brown, and I always thought he was going to be a huge prospect in the sport. And then he kind of, I think right after he got his black belt, that's when he was battling cancer, right before he got his black belt, I'm not sure.
Yeah, diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and I know here recently he had posted some pictures of going through treatment, and you can see, you know, the compare and contrast the man that you see in front of you today compared to some of those pictures. Incredible.
I can't imagine, man. Like, I think like after that, like wrestling Patrick Gaudio was like a good day.
Yeah.
You know, like, so this guy's been through a lot, and he's a true hero to be here.
And time is winding down now, 2 minutes, 38 seconds. Robert, you know, as a high-level black belt in a close match, when do you start really thinking, all right, I really need to pull out all the stops? At what point are you really seeing time being...
He's deep on that single. If he can get something, like, to answer your question, Tyler, right about now. You know, I normally tell my students that the last 2 minutes of the fight are the most important. Like, the very beginning is very important. It determines the dynamic of the rest of the match. Whoever scores that first point determines the dynamic of, you know, the rest of that fight. But the very end is even more important because this is when your opponent goes, you know, goes crazy. He's going to try that flying armbar. He's going to go for those footlocks he normally wouldn't go for because at this point, Patrick has less and less to lose, which makes him a more dangerous. It's almost like he's a cornered animal, right?
Yeah.
Like he's far more likely to do something completely unexpected. João Gabriel's got to be extra sharp. We've all seen our friends lose a match with like 10 seconds left or 5 seconds left. It's happened to everyone. And it's normally because a lot of people put their guard down towards the end of the match because they think it's over, while your opponent is actually, you know, switching gears. They're going, you know, 200% at the very end. So if I were João Gabriel, I wouldn't be too defensive.
You know, Gaudio shot in really deep and got nice and deep on Rocha's legs here just a moment ago, and Rocha was able to explode away, and I wonder if that has Gaudio wondering about what type of takedown he wants to try to shoot here at the end, knowing that Rocha can sort of explode away from even his best kind of shots where he's able to get in deep.
Absolutely, but the thing is, like, you know, you can see Patrick is tentative to really commit to that single because of Gabriel's counters. His counters are so solid. He's a very difficult guy to beat because of that. We just mentioned his wars with Buchecha. He recently had a very close fight against Gordon Ryan, controversial even. Patrick has had some a really close match against Gordon as well. We're missing. Those are the three guys I really wish we had in this bracket today: Felipe Pena, Buchecha, and Gordon Ryan. Unfortunately, they're not here, but they will be at ADCC, so I can't wait. But between Patrick and João Gabriel, even though they may be less accomplished than some of these guys, they're up there. These guys could beat any one of those threes, any day of the week. So we're watching that elite level BJJ right now.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's often maybe overlooked in some of these things, and you alluded to it just a moment ago, talking about the accomplishments. Is Gaudio shooting in deep?
Got it. This could be it. Oh.
Rocha trying to scramble as they're out of bounds.
I'm giving that an advantage.
Yeah, it's going to be scored an advantage. The referee called a stop to the action before the action finished. Rocha holding his elbow here.
It looks like he hurt himself.
I don't know if it's maybe a cut or maybe he.
I think he just hit his elbow on the concrete. It's just going to be a bone bruise. It's definitely an advantage.
And that's going to tie things up here with 37 seconds left to go.
Guys, please give referees a break, man. That is the worst job on the planet. Only a referee knows how horrible the job of refereeing is. It is not easy.
And they tie up here once again with 34 seconds left to go. Rocha looking to snap down on Gaudio. Rocha now really stepping up his game here. Gaudio getting in double unders.
That's where he's dangerous, though. You can't. Well, Gaudio's really pushing the pace down. He might win a decision. He's been more aggressive towards the end. João Gabriel knows that. That's where experience kicks in. He knows that he can't be too defensive now.
Less than 10 seconds left to go.
They're trying to convince the refs that they want it more. They're attacking more. 5 seconds left. João Gabriel with the hip throw.
The referee called a stop to the action before Rocha initiated that throw, and there's literally 1 second left on the official clocks here.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Great match. What a fight. 10 minutes of non-stop action. I don't have a favorite, Tyler.
I don't either. I think it's.
I don't want to say left or right, man.
We can flip a coin on this one, in my opinion.
My guess it's going to be a split decision. We're about to find out.
You see all three referees stand here.
Well, no, João Gabriel. They gave it to João.
Yep. And
that was split, though.
It was a split decision.
Yeah. The center ref gave it to Gaudio, and the corner refs gave it to João Gabriel. I will say this may have been the final.
Yeah.
That might have been, we have a lot of tough competitors. We're not discrediting anyone, but like these guys have been like really, really dominant in recent competitions.
Especially no-gi.
Yeah, absolutely.